Hello, and welcome to Beyond Common Business Secrets. I'm your host, Tracey Watts Cirino, and I am so excited for the guest I have for you today. Tori Nook has been a longtime friend of mine actually, I think it's been more than 25 years. She is
Yeah.
a powerhouse of so many amazing accolades and so many awards that we would not have time in this whole podcast to list them all. But I'm going to tell you some of my absolute favorites. Tori has sold over $1 billion in sales in real estate. She has a boutique agency that is the one of the largest commercial real estate brokerages in all of Ohio. And she's a female, which is so rare. I literally get tingles when I say
It's
this.
crazy. Yeah.
So it's such an honor and privilege to have Tori here with us today. She has her own talk show called The Tori Nook Show, which is amazing. I highly recommend you check it out, no matter what industry you're in. But
Mhm.
as a commercial real estate broker and being one of the only females, Tori has a very unique, interesting perspective of the world. And I am so grateful that she's here to share it with you today, along with the fact that she has been named two times in a row, right?
Yes.
Globe Street award winning media, like so amazing. She's also one of the 21 most influential social media influencers in commercial real estate on LinkedIn. And she just so happens to be a very good friend of mine for all these
Yeah.
years. So I know I apologize. I've been hiding this secret from you for so long. But Tori also has an amazing book that she is going to be launching soon. Am I allowed to tell everybody the name?
Of course. December 11th, it's coming out.
So, Intuitive Certainty, which is such an amazing title. So,
Hmm.
Tori, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Beyond Common Business Secrets. We're so excited you're here.
I'm honored I'm here and I love what you're doing and I love your podcast and I'm so proud of you, Tracy. We've both come a long way
It's so funny, right? I was thinking
when
about it,
we met
right?
in our early 20s. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's really funny because even way back then, I would have, if you would have asked me the question, I could tell you then, like, Tori is a powerhouse and she's a successful female.
Oh, thank
Like,
you.
you have always had that vibe about you.
Oh, good.
What you have done with it is like mind blowing. Like, right? Like, we don't need to know how, right? In the beginning, you just know it's true.
Yeah, I think that's how you manifest your life too. You just have to have the confidence and know it gets relatively what you want, but God unfolds the rest because my life is beyond what I could have written on a goal list.
So what would you say? Like if if you had to name like the one skill
Mhm.
that has really made you successful, what would you say it is?
I'm just like a bulldog. I won't stop. I'm very persistent. I think one of the best attributes is I like talking. I like people. And I think the reason from the beginning why I was successful is I had a huge client that told me that I returned calls within 24 hours. That was a big shocker, especially you're out of college, working and trying to make it, especially in a commission only job, that this huge exec would tell me this, I'm thinking my parents spent over 100,000 on my, education at John Carroll Business School. And he said that was the best attribute that anyone could have is to return a phone call in 24 hours. And as you know, Tracy, there are people who you can't even get an email, you cannot get them to respond. And those are the people that just aren't going to make it in any career. I mean, that's even brokers. I mean, it's in my industry. I mean, the ones that get on the phone, keep pounding away, keep following up. You got to keep the conversation going, and you can't do that on email, right? Or
Oh,
texting.
like right. It's
Hmm.
so much better. And
Right.
you're absolutely right. There are so many people that are like, "Oh yeah, I'll get back to you." It's like
Yeah.
I love that. 24 hours. I think I naturally do that because if something's in my aura, I have to get it done.
Me too. I mean, you and I are both type A, but
Like I have to get
I know that, but it's true. Like even if you're not type A, I mean, I see it even in my own office, like the people who are just you have to be organized. And I
Yeah.
know that some of the most successful people I know are not totally organized because I just noticed a pattern, like mega successful people that made a ton of money. A lot of them are ADD and ADHD, but that they could hire someone to keep them organized like an assistant, right, with what they got to do. But
Yeah.
they do have it all in their head. And what they're doing is they're pounding on people, they're pounding on the phones, they're calling, they've got creative ideas, they're engaging others to get it done. And I think that's why we have this amazing world of all these amazing things down to the iPhone, right?
Well,
And
that's so
products.
true. And
Mhm.
the other thing that I think is so amazing about everything that you've accomplished is being in commercial real estate. You've worked with some of the most amazing brands
Oh, yeah.
the world has to offer. So what is
Right.
it like to work with these like very high profile brands?
Yes, I've learned a lot from them. So, being in commercial real estate, since I was in college interning, I've only worked in retail. So, I have leased shopping centers for major developers, but really my niche for me personally is just doing national tenant representation for retailers and for restaurants. And I love, whether it's they're buying land or I'm assembling properties for them to buy, or they're leasing shopping centers, or they're doing ground leases. And what I like is when you're working with these big brands, you see the machines behind them because, of course, you'll meet the real estate managers, but sometimes you are meeting the CEOs, the COOs, chief development officers, big C-suite people with a big resume behind them. Or especially like in restaurant world, I've, worked with some of the top owners of the largest franchises in the country, that own hundreds, if not like 1,000 units, right? And to work with the owners of those big franchise groups that, I mean, to see how those are the owners I'm working with directly and to see how their mind has went to build an empire with multiple brands and hundreds of stores. I mean, to me, this is why it's funny because my mom was a school teacher and my dad was a also big international businessman, just like my husband is now, coincidentally. And what I learned about growing up in business, being married to big business, and then working in business is that really you want to just get out of school. Like you need to learn your basics, right? You better know your math and how to read and write. But your real training is on the job and you've got to be observant and listen to how they're doing things. And I mean, one of the things they do is they are constantly working. Like they don't really shut off too much, only when they have to. You've got to just keep moving and like that momentum, I think just keeps creating more and more and more of the brand that you're building. And obviously, money comes along with it too.
Yeah, I think that it's so true. And you being a wife and a mother, it's like you can't turn that part of your brain off, right? It's there. You just have to learn how to like navigate it so that you have this big, beautiful life.
Right. Yeah, I know it's a battle and there's sacrifices. And I mean, you have to choose, what route you want to go. And I can't tell someone what to do just like you. You have to know what's best for you, right? And I knew that, I came out of a certain lifestyle that I lived growing up. I didn't want to not be financially independent as a woman. And, at the time, my husband was getting his company up and running, and it's like it had to be all hands on deck. And like I knew I wanted to send my kids to private school. I knew I wanted to own a house that was paid off. Like, well, to do that, like you kind of have to work, go to work and do well and to pay all those, bills that you want to pay and provide for your, family. So,
What do you think is like your personal like motivator to all of this?
oh, for me, that I don't ever have to depend on someone else.
Yeah. I think that that's like a big topic in itself, right? Like how many women, especially in our audience, or that we personally know, right,
Right.
that really that's like a number one driver, right? Like we do not want to repeat the mistakes of generations past, right? We're here to make sure that we are self-reliant. And I always think that my divine motivation is to get money in the hands of really amazing women. When you get
Right.
money in the hands of really amazing women, really good shit happens in the world.
I agree. And I think the thing is, number one, money is not everything. To me, the most important thing is being married, is being in a loving, respectful relationship, is having kids. Kids may not be for everyone, marriage may not be for everyone, but that's my number one top priority, other than my faith in God, right? And with money though, is you obviously, like for me and my family, I mean, I think especially from working, I worked with, women who were very successful but had horrible relationships and divorces where if they weren't working, it would have been terrible. And then I know people who didn't work where they're left for nothing, and you don't know what's going to happen. Like, believe me, if I wasn't working today, we're fine. I don't think anything crazy would happen. I'm fortunate, but you just don't know. And I like to have control over my own life, just in case, right? And money, what it gives you is it gives you flexibility. It gives you the flexibility to know I can do this, I can do that. Like nothing's holding you back because you've got to go ask daddy or your husband for to support you.
Right.
And I don't, even with my own husband, I don't have to argue with him over things. So I'm like, if you don't want this, I'm just buying it. I don't really care. You know, like, all right, I'm not gonna have a fight about it. I'll just go get it for myself. But it also just leads to like with you. I mean, what's important is, making, you want your kids to be in good environments. You want to be able to, they want to do this sport, they want to go do this club sport, you know, great. We could go do that and providing them with the education they want or camps that they want and to broaden their mind and horizons with meeting other people.
Yeah. I do always secretly say that, okay, if I had to come back again, I'd want to be my children because it's like
I know.
we kind
I,
of like, like, because we have dreams that manifest and then we like provide for our kids in a way that it's like, wow, what would my life be like if I had all that at the start?
I
And
know.
I'm very grateful that my kids are very grateful for that. And I cannot
Mhm.
wait to see what unfolds for them
Right.
because they had that sort of like amazing start where I feel like I
Right.
was a bit of a hustler and like, you know, and I have done all I can to break free from hustle culture,
I
right?
agree. Yeah.
But that's the only way that I knew starting out. And now I'm such an advocate for women. Like, could we have peaceful profits?
Well,
Like,
I think that's a great point, Tracy. And see, we're at that age now where I agree with you. I am done with hustle culture. So done with it. I mean, I sacrificed my family because of it and myself and my own health, and I'm done. I mean, but the reason though we can say this is because we did hustle in our 20s and 30s, right? Like, if we didn't, can you imagine having to start in your 40s? Like, A, I'm too busy and I'm too tired. Like, you want to be established by now so you don't have to be in this psychotic hustle culture.
well, I will say that is the one beyond common secret is that because I switched industry
Hmm.
in at like a prime of life, it was like starting over and it was super scary. But
Right.
my vow was to do it different, right?
Yeah.
To like say, okay, take all the positive stuff I learned from starting my first successful business, right?
Right.
And apply only the good parts, like just kind of
Hmm.
remove the stuff that made me chase my tail and just be busy for the sake of busy.
Right.
But it was really scary.
It
And
is scary.
and you know what I mean? But I think when you are truly an entrepreneur at heart, even though I didn't think I was never ready for it, right?
No,
That's
it's kind
why,
of like having a kid. It's
yeah,
it's
like
it's it's like you're never really ready. You just got to do it.
right. So what would you say was like that? deciding factor that made you know it was time for you to be in business for yourself?
Well, I would say it was pretty much in 2007, but the reason why I never made the jump until 2016 is because of fear. I'll be very upfront. I was very fearful. And then also I kept thinking, oh, at the time this was my mindset. Then I thought, oh, once my husband's established, I'm just going to quit working and stay home. So I kind of had that in the back of my head. I was like, I don't want to just start a company if that's something I want to do. And then, and then I also, was so busy because I did so well. I mean, I always was a seven-figure income with what I did every year that it's hard to get out of the because when you're doing really well financially, it's hard to just jump and say, oh, I'm going to start my own business when you're doing really well and you have a huge client base. So for me, starting my own business was really, it was God saying enough's enough because I was literally forced to because I was fired from who I worked for what, 16, 17 years. And I had no choice but to start my own company because I had such a big client base, even though every competitor but one called me to come work for them. There was too much conflict. I would have had to given up clients, right? Because they were representing a competitor and whatnot. And so my husband for years was like, just go out on your own. I had one of my biggest clients told me, I mean, a lot of people were like, why aren't you on your own? And I thought, well, here I go, I'll just do this. So it was a process and it was the middle of having three kids under four, it was intense. And, luckily from working full time, I always had a full-time nanny, but that summer my mom had to come up and help me too because it was it's a lot to start your own company, but then once it's started, that big chunk of time it's not forever. It's what, a couple months to a year setup, depending on what you're putting together.
Well, and that I think speaks of your tremendous resilience
Hmm.
because I know we have people listening right now
Yeah.
going, she started her company when she had three kids under four. Like, because
Ugh,
that's
it's
like
crazy.
I'm having this aha moment. Like, yeah, I remember you just had your third baby and this all.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness. Yeah.
It was a lot, but I mean, looking back, they don't remember any of this. Thank God. Because, remember, I wasn't, I had a lot, not, so that sounds like a lot. Well, then I have, an ex-employer who, is coming after me as well and trying to, that's the thing. And I think if there's a lot of women listening, I think we all know, I mean, the biggest number one tip I could give to you is you never back down. And, I think that's something like even I learned growing up, being around really tough businessmen. My grandmother was in business. So, I'm not saying to women, oh, you have to be masculine, but you do have to not back down because there's a lot of men that have threatened me and they want to come after you and intimidate you. And you just have to stand your ground. And also, I think when things get crazy, that's why you hire attorneys because you have to cut off communication with certain people in order to move on.
I love that advice.
Yeah,
You're so right. Like, even if your voice cracks,
right,
still have to not back down. Like if
right.
you know someone is, taking advantage of you or,
Hmm.
because
Right.
that is how bullies keep doing it to other people.
Right, exactly. And I mean that goes for your personal life too. I mean,
True.
it's you have to stay in control of your life as best as you can, and it's hard, and that's why you also have to have a support system too, whether that's your parents, your spouse, friends, hiring a whether a coach or a psychologist is some, but you do need to have someone that's been in your shoes. And I think that's where probably working with a coach would be, is a great idea too, which coaching wasn't really big back then, but now it is. Like there's so many people that you can find that have can give you the playbook for what to say, what to do. Where I think back then, all you really had, like, we were like, say, attorneys to talk to on how you handle
Wait,
X, Y, and Z and talk to someone.
that's so true. Because starting my first business, I thought attorneys knew a lot more than they did. And turns
Hmm.
out, like, no, I knew a lot more about business. They only
Yeah.
knew about how to write it. So it was legal jargon.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a very expensive mistake in the
Oh,
beginning.
I know.
But no, you're right. Let's dig into this because I think that so many people have this like false impression that a woman like you're so successful, you're powerful, you will not back down. Like that is what makes you so amazing and have been able to accomplish so much in your career. But sometimes people don't get that. Like you didn't do that by yourself, right?
No.
So the thing is like hiring the support staff, hiring
Right.
good staff, hiring
Right.
great attorney, like all of it. And now that you can hire coaches for everything that you don't know, that
Right.
that piece, it's like let's dig into that.
Let's totally dig into that. Yeah. I mean, you and I talked about this briefly. You, I think a lot of us I call it the immigrant mentality. And I say that only because, I had grandparents that were immigrants, right? I
Yeah,
could say that. I've lived it, I've seen it. Um, they think just because they can do it, that they should do it, right?
right.
Well, no, I mean, I think that's the best thing. One of the top business coaches I ever worked with told me that, which I already knew that.
Yeah.
Just because you could do it doesn't mean you should, right? You have bigger, what is your bigger scope? What is important to you? Well, let's see. Time with my husband, time to go work out, time to be with my kids, time to go to church. Those are extremely important things to me, and also maintaining my friendships and not having my cortisol levels be out the roof like they used to be, that which caused me to be sick. I don't ever want to live that world ever again. Well, how do you get things off your plate in business? I know what I'm good at. I'm good at sales. I'm good at running my company, and I'm very good at rainmaking and creating business. I do not want to handle my calendar. I do not want to put my kids' schedule on my calendar. I used to do all this stuff. This is why my weekends were blown. I was organizing everything. Um, also from child care. That's another thing I see people destroy, even men with their careers. They'll be like, well, I'm taking Tuesdays off because I'm watching my kids. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Okay, but this is why they can't get ahead, because you need to get a nanny, and even get them 10 hours a day so you can fit in your workout, you can fit in going to work, and get an assistant so you can get more done at work, or team up with someone on stuff at work, right? Outsource as much as you can. Like, I'm even shocked, like, some people even handle their own books. You can find trusted bookkeepers or CFO out there. Like, why are you doing this? Same with social media. I'm very creative, as you know, I'm a good writer. I love creating content, but guess what? I cannot constantly do it. Like, I have to have a social media manager help me stay streamlined to get it all done. Because my job isn't to be the social media manager, the secretary, the marketing person, the CFO of my company. Those aren't my is not my job. And my job is not to be also, during the day doing housework, taking care of my kids. Like, that's before work and that's after work and on weekends. So,
Absolutely, right?
yeah,
Like because you don't like when you then have time with your children, you make it a serious connection point. You
correct.
make time to have it be something where you're very much connected. Instead of being so frazzled because you didn't have a workout, you're
Right.
feeling like your ambition, you know what I mean? Like you can't follow your
Well, or
ambition.
you snap with them. Like, if you're, you know, tired, miserable, you're not going to have good quality relationship, because I remember a woman who I really admire in my industry, who works for a developer, told me, she was one of the few women I knew who worked with three kids. And she even said to me, she's like, it's how much you love them. Like, you could be home all day and there's like terrible parents that don't even really love or care about their kids. They could care less. It's the quality time you spend and showing them you love them by what you're doing, making eye contact, talking with them, being with them, loving them when you are with them. And it's no different than how you would treat your spouse, right? Like your spouse is working too. You're not going to be with them 24 hours a day, but when you have that time, you have to make it the best, right? Or you're not going to have a marriage or a relationship with a partner.
Right, like because then like you're both present. That's what creates
Right, present,
yeah,
right.
that's what
That's a
creates
key word,
yeah,
present.
like that's like right. And like that's funny. In my first book, Beyond Happy, that's chapter one. So if we can get that down, it really is. So being
Right,
present is like the foundation to everything. But it's one of these things that I think we try to like bypass or think we can outsource that piece. And it's like you can outsource everything else, but not the
right,
presence, right? Like the
right.
piece of I always say that my kids are good kids because I do work. Because I do.
Oh, I think it's way better for my personality not to have been home because I think I would have been a helicopter mom. I would have been very controlling with them, super controlling with my husband. I think it's better that I have things, different variety of things to do.
I so agree. Like there's a certain, but
Because I,
I
yeah,
have friends that are like really like that's their like love of life and they're happy and it's working for them.
but
So
that's great because
well,
then they
it's
know their
figure out,
personality
yeah,
can do that. Like I know mine can't. So
yeah, so that's I'm always like the goal is to figure out what's best for
for
you.
you, yeah,
Like you don't have to be this big career businesswoman just
no,
because everyone else is doing it if you
absolutely not.
know you were born to be a homemaker.
Well,
It's
look, some people want to do, I think the thing that's wonderful about women, unlike when our grandmas were of our age, right? They could only, well, first of all, very few went to college. Like my grandma didn't even go back to college till her late 20s because her husband told her she was too smart to stay at home when my mom went to kindergarten. And, she went, but her only option going back to college was to be a teacher or a nurse.
yeah, that was it.
I
Yeah.
mean, that was really it. And so she could have been way beyond that. I mean, she's Mensa level smart. But I think what's interesting is our generation of, I think our moms, they all stayed home. I mean, it was extremely rare they worked. I think it really wasn't until probably the 2000s that that was like the first set of women going into more male dominated careers because it wasn't even really there in the 90s. And when it was, I think that's when women were really battling to get over sexism and the glass ceiling with the few that decided to do different things. And I think what's nice is that we all have options now. You want to be a doctor? Great. You want to be a nurse? You want to be a healer? You want to be a lawyer? You want to own your own company? You want to own a shop? Like you could be a franchisee now. I mean,
Like go make some bread and start your own little
yeah,
shop.
like I mean,
Right?
you own your own salon. I mean, you there's so many endless op I mean, now look, you can be an influencer.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you don't ever from I mean, you don't even really need to go to college now unless you're really going to be a doctor, an engineer, or a nurse,
I
or a
I
profession where you have to go. Like if you're in business, I don't think you have to go.
oh
You can learn
I
enough
was in
online.
I was in college, but I went to my college and said, "Hey, can I because I got offered the job to teach on stage." And
Oh,
so it was
cool.
go to New York and in Paris and Milan, like go to these places
Hmm.
or stay at Lakeland Community College because that's where I was, right? And so I said, "Hey, can I turn my work in like online, online whatever."
Right.
Like, no, so I had this innovative idea, which is
Yeah.
totally happening in present day, but
Oh,
they
I know.
no. But I was 19, so I
Right.
made the cool decision, which was to go to New York, right? So I always say my education was on the job, right? I travel,
It all is.
yeah, so it's really funny when I have to fill out the forms for the kids, the boxes. But you brought up an interesting point about overcoming things for women because I had forgot about this. When I was first negotiating for my first lease, I
Okay.
had I had a landlord, the place I really wanted my space to
Hmm.
be, he wouldn't rent to me, even though I had all the financials, the client list. I had a viable business already.
Right.
I just was expanding it. He wouldn't rent to me because I was a woman.
Well, he can't do that. That's illegal.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
that.
I'm just saying, going back, like we didn't like know. It's
You
just,
probably didn't even know that, but yeah.
I was 23. You
Hmm.
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
that's
yeah,
totally
I'm
legal.
sure. Like, I didn't really want to spend my time, but yeah, you
Hmm.
brought up an interesting thing that I'm like, yeah. So tell me, because
We're still living in that world, Tracy.
so
At
crazy,
least we're in a westernized country,
right?
right? I
Yeah.
mean, and even in the westernized countries, it's not as big of a battle, but the nepotism, the sexism, the sexual harassment, it all still exists. Personally, I think at a more, this is just my opinion, I think it's way more toned down than when I first started working 25 years ago. I do feel that this generation of the 20 somethings, even early 30s, I think those men have come out of dual income households, like where their moms were working or they're just raised differently. I don't know, but it seems like they're way more tone low, like just normal. Like they wouldn't pull that kind of stuff. What I notice is the people even in that age group that are sexist, I know personally the families they came from, and unfortunately, racism, sexism, ageism, it all comes from the family
Of
influencing
course.
you,
Yeah, of course.
right? It's not a socioeconomic thing. It's is what morals were you brought up with?
Well, that's true for everything, right? It's
Hmm.
not
Right,
always what, like, reality is what you think it is. So
right.
what you see,
True.
so we can say, like, what's the truth? What's your ultimate truth? Well, that's going to be very different for people side by side each other because
Right.
of raised, what they were exposed to.
You
So
don't know what you don't know.
yeah,
I didn't know what I didn't know. Do you know how many things that even coming out of my own upbringing that I'm like, oh yeah, I would never do that, or that wasn't really totally
right.
right, or oh, you don't talk to people that way, or you shouldn't say that. I mean, things have changed so much,
Yeah.
but you have to discern it yourself too, to try to have enough. Look, we can't teach common sense in school, but another, going back to your first question, success is also based on common sense. And that's also like what I wrote about in my book, Intuitive Certainty, is you need everyone, we all have intuition. I mean, that's a word that I never knew until a couple years ago because people would say gut feelings or whatnot. But I mean, all of us can discern the energy of a room, the energy of a person. I mean, I've been around people where you feel so high being with them, and then I've been around people where I think I'm getting the flu after I left meeting them because they made me practically sick. But I mean, you have to have enough, you know, common sense and, speak to your soul, God, and know like what is right from wrong.
It's so true because I will often say that sense is not common, but you have to have the good sense to get the knowledge that you need, right?
Right.
Because if someone's making you sick, being in their
Right.
presence, probably not somebody you want to go into business with. Like,
No,
probably not
no.
someone you want to be in a relationship. So these are things like we don't like situational awareness. We've got to bring that level of intuitiveness. I
We
love
do. And because that's what's going to guide your every step, really, of what you're doing. And then, I think that, things divinely happen too in your life, and you got to say thank you because I wouldn't have met this person or gotten here or done this without something I can't see fueling it, right?
That's so true. So,
Hmm.
Tori, if there was one thing that you wanted, I would say primarily women to know about real estate,
Hmm.
what would it be? Like, what's this like secret that you want
Sure.
to know about real estate?
Well, I'm only have experience in commercial. I've never worked in residential world, but any type of real estate, what's wonderful is it's a hard asset that you can own and make passive, what we call mailbox money off of. There's work involved, obviously. You have to know, I think the biggest secret is you can't go into it blind. Like you definitely sometimes should maybe join a think tank group, like even here in Cleveland, like Scott Schill owns Commercial Real Estate Academy. He works with people all over the country to teach them how to own real estate. And then you have a big community, right? That you can ask questions because you're not in the business like me, right? Where I could call anyone about anything and get answers for free or, examples of their pro formas, how they do things, compare prices, because I know these people. But if you didn't, it's always good to work with maybe a partner, get a coach, or be part of a think tank in order to learn. Because what's nice is you can build assets. And I also feel that anyone could do it. And I think what's sad is only like 2% of women themselves own real estate. This means that it wasn't inherited or it's not them owning it with their husbands, right? Who did everything and just put your name on it. And it's crazy. And that's why a woman named Beth Azor, if anyone wants to Google her, she's been extremely influential and has a women's summit every March down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to help women learn and understand how to be a GP, like own their own real estate or be an LP, like a limited partner versus a general partner. They can network with other women and how the how-tos of it, because it's crazy how we think that what I notice, and I know speaking for other women, I know too, most women, what they see in other women is other women, especially in the business world, like they think that a lot of them think they're not worthy. Like, they're not good enough to be part of this deal. It's like, well, the guy sitting next to you is not even as smart as you, owns or has pieces and more deals than you. Like, you just need to ask, right? Like, you got to have like sometimes blind ambition.
Well, there's statistics that say a man will only be like 60% qualified for something and he has no problem asking for it. A
Right.
woman feels that she has to be 110% qualified, but
To ask.
which is
Yeah.
like, no, like,
No.
I mean, if you have a little like desire, ask.
Exactly. And that's something I learned very young in my career. And again, that's kind of like what made me stay not to go start my own company because I just kept asking for more money. I
Smart.
mean, what are they going to say? Like my husband would say, like, what are they going to say? No? So who cares? Like, go ask. And I just kept asking and asking and asking. And I knew like I had splits that I wasn't going to get with any of my competitors.
So yeah, so you stayed much
Yeah.
longer.
And then, I've had developers who are like, hey, if you're allowed to, if your company allows you to, well, obviously I own my own company, I don't need to go ask permission, but they'd say, hey, if you want to invest in this with me or you want free equity, if you go do this for me and find this site, we'll give you X%. So why
That's all.
not?
Yeah. Like you said, that's setting up your mailbox money for the future.
Correct. I mean, I think some
Yeah.
people are pigs, and I don't even like how they are too pushy and ask with other people. Like, I think you do need to respect people and have a more calmer conversation about it and not be so aggressive, but it's just a basic question.
So, Tori, what is the number one thing that you hope that people will get from reading your book, Intuitive?
I really want them to learn to trust themselves because I talk about when I trusted myself and when I didn't, and my life and work and in personal. And when I didn't listen to myself, things didn't go too well.
Right when we overrode what we knew was best for us. Yeah.
Exactly. And then when you do listen, things do go well, right? And I pretty much, I think like what I want people to understand is that they can trust themselves to have the confidence to know that you do know. You do know the answers to what you want, if you should even be working with this person. It's okay to say no. It's okay. I think a lot of people do also have shame about really terrible experiences or trauma that happen in their lives. And guess what? Majority of people may not know what you happened to you. So why are you letting that past stuff hold you back to now? Right?
Right.
And just that there's also so many amazing people, like you're not alone. And there's so many amazing people that can help you with so many things too, and not to be afraid to seek them and be an endless seeker on this journey here in life because we're always going to be learning until the day we die, right? And how can you make yourself a better person? Because people I think get overwhelmed thinking like they have to change the world. It's no, you don't have to. You change the world by first and foremost, changing yourself and working on yourself. Once you work on yourself, that energy spreads to your family and people you work with, and you're spreading the good. It just keeps multiplying, right? And, things that I talk about too is, we are all successful people. We all have a right to be. We're in a free country. We could go do whatever we want. Like, don't let yourself first and foremost hold you back, nor anybody else hold you back. Think of what you love to do and go execute it. Because once you're aligned with what you want, everything just starts to fall in place.
Oh, I love that so much.
Hmm.
Well, Tori, I can talk to you all day
I
long.
know.
You just have so many gem drops. I'm going
Hmm.
to include Tori's website
Yeah.
and where you can go and buy her amazing new book that comes out in December. Um, but if anyone is interested in anything to do with commercial real estate, Tori is your girl.
Yes.
So, um, Tori, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.
And this, as always, I hope everyone has the most beyond amazing day. And thank you so much for being here. And we will see you on the next one. Take care.
Yes.